This podcast is brought to you by Three Rivers Energy Partners. In today's episode of Digest This.
In 2024, we saw 740 gigawatts of new renewable power capacity added.
We're not just lowering emissions. We're redefining how industries think about waste.
In 2024, global investment in renewables hit $728 billion.
Welcome to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future, where we dive deep into the latest developments in sustainability and renewable energy. Join us in exploring the pioneering solutions and technologies that are shaping our future. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future. I'm Alex, and as always, I'm joined by Emily. Emily, how's it going?
Hey Alex, I'm good. Excited to dig into today's topic, reviewing REN21's latest report, the Renewables 2025 Global Status Report, Global Overview. There's a lot happening in renewables right now, but it's not all sunshine and roses, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you just look at the headlines, it's like record-breaking year for renewables. And that's true. In 2024, we saw 740 gigawatts of new renewable power capacity added. That's the biggest jump ever. But here's the kicker. More than 3/4 of that was solar PV. So solar is just running away with it.
Right, and it's not just big utility-scale solar farms. Rooftop solar is booming, especially in developing countries. I saw that rooftop solar grew by 22% in those markets. It's a real shift toward decentralized energy, people taking power, literally, into their own hands.
The opportunity is huge. Lower energy bills, more resilience, and a little extra income selling power back to the grid. But man, the obstacles are real.
That's such a good point. We talk about technology costs coming down, and that's true for solar panels, but the system around it, grids, storage, policy, hasn't caught up. And even with all this growth, only solar is really on track to meet the global target to triple renewables by 2030. Everything else is lagging.
Yeah, and it's easy to get caught up in the numbers, but if you zoom out, we're still not moving fast enough. The REN21 report basically says, hey, great job on solar, but the rest of the system? Not so much.
Exactly. And that's where things start to get complicated. Because it's not just about installing more panels. It's about transforming the whole energy system. And that's where we're hitting some real barriers. So let's talk about those barriers. One of the biggest things that jumped out at me in the REN21 report was the explosion in trade restrictions. I mean, in 2015, there were just 9 trade measures targeting renewables. Now, in 2024, it's over 200, more than 50 just on solar PV. That's wild.
Yeah, and it's not just numbers on a page. These trade restrictions are making it harder to get the parts and materials you need, especially for solar. And it's not just about supply chains, it's about uncertainty. If you don't know what the rules are going to be next year, are you really going to invest in a big project?
Exactly. And it's not just trade. We're seeing major economies actually rolling back or delaying climate policies. The US, New Zealand, the UK, they've all taken steps back recently. Only 13 countries even bothered to submit updated climate commitments to the UN this year. That's a pretty clear signal that ambition is stalling.
Yeah, and it's not just governments. This can cause corporations to pause their transition investments. It's like everyone's waiting to see who blinks first. And meanwhile, the clock's ticking. It's also a systems problem. We're deploying renewables in record numbers, but we're not building the systems, grids, storage, planning, that actually let us use all that clean energy. It's like buying a bunch of new appliances, but never upgrading your electrical panel. Eventually, something's going to blow.
That's a great analogy, actually. And it ties back to what we talked about in our episode on grid transformation and AI innovations. Remember how California added all that clean energy, but it only worked because they invested in storage and smarter grid management? Without that, you just hit a wall.
The stakes are high. If we don't get this right, we risk losing the momentum we've built up. I think this is why we will start to see more renewable energy projects like ours at Three Rivers Energy Partners. By taking industrial waste to create renewable natural gas, we're able to lower industrial carbon emissions and create a renewable energy that can be inserted into existing infrastructure.
Absolutely, Alex. You're spot on. That's exactly why our approaches like ours are so important. By capturing industrial waste streams and converting them into renewable natural gas, we're not just lowering emissions. We're redefining how industries think about waste. Our method shows companies that sustainability doesn't have to mean completely overhauling existing infrastructure. It's about enhancing what's already there, turning waste into a valuable resource, and creating measurable environmental impacts right now.
All right, Emily, let's talk money. In 2024, global investment in renewables hit $728 billion. That sounds huge, but it's still less than half of what we actually need. Ren21 says we need $1.5 trillion a year to really transform the system. And most of that investment is concentrated in just a few places: China, the EU, the US.
Yeah, and if you're in a low-income country, it's even harder. Financing costs can be twice as high as in developed markets. That makes it really tough to scale up renewables where they're needed most. And then there's the slow pace of electrification in sectors like heat and fuels. Those make up more than 3/4 of total energy use, but renewables only cover about 6% of that. So we're not just talking about power plants. We need to rethink how we heat our homes, run our factories, move our vehicles.
Yeah, and that's where system-wide reform comes in. Ren21 is calling for long-term planning, modernizing grids, investing in storage, and making financing more accessible. It's not just about more solar panels, it's about changing the whole infrastructure. And, one bright spot is corporate power purchase agreements. In 2024, companies, especially in tech and industry, signed up for 69 gigawatts of renewable power through PPAs. That's a 35% jump from last year. This is why long-term deals for renewables are so important. They basically guarantee stable prices and a clean supply, even with all the market uncertainty. And that stability goes both ways for the producer and the consumer. It's a model that more companies should be looking at, especially as energy markets get bumpier.
That's a good example, and it shows how the private sector can push things forward.
Yeah, and I think that's a good place to wrap for today. We've got record growth, but we're still falling short. The next steps are clear, even if they're not easy. Emily, always a pleasure talking this through with you.
Same here, Alex, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll keep unpacking these challenges and hopefully some solutions in future episodes. Take care, Alex.
You too, Emily, and thanks to all our listeners. See you next time on Digest This. Thank you for listening to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future, a Three Rivers Energy Partners podcast. Three Rivers Energy Partners is a renewable energy company that empowers organizations with the ability to create a sustainable future by converting organic waste streams into renewable energy and resources. To get the latest episode of Digest This, or to find out more about Three Rivers Energy Partners, visit threeriversenergy.com or find us on LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. The sustainable future is being created right now. Keep exploring and keep up to speed with the latest in renewable energy and sustainability. See you next time.